So when I first heard about the Ford and thought about what it meant and whether I should apply, this was actually when I was thinking of applying for the pre-doctoral. When I entered graduate school, the first thoughts were prestige, honor, a community of scholars. I actually had known professors who had themselves been funded by the Ford, so I felt that sense of, I want to be like these people when I grow up. So it was a very it was overwhelming in that sense, where it's like, oh my goodness, if you get this, it's sort of, you're set for life. This is a stamp of approval, which I feel like was a bit intimidating, but I thought that I was up for the challenge. That was sort of the main thing, was prestige.
So like Carolyn, I also applied for the pre-doc my first year here. In fact, at that point, I'd only been here for 2 months because it was due in November.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know anything about it. Someone, I can't remember, it's probably the graduate advisor, told me I should apply for it. And I mean, my understanding of Ford in general was kind of within this context of like the Ford family. And so I knew more about the Ford family, I think, than I knew about the fellowship. I didn't know how prestigious it was. I didn't know it was this big thing. I'd only been here for 2 months, and somebody's like, oh, you should like totally apply for this. And it's, for, you would be like a great candidate. At this point, I'm like, you've only known me for 2 months, but okay, sure, why not? Like, this is what we do, all right. And so I had applied for it, and going through the application process and meeting with Grad Fund, I actually met with Jana. That was the first time I came to Grad Fund. It was like 4 or 5 years ago, oh my gosh. And, like, talking to her, that's when I realized like it was this big thing. And so it was only late in the game that I realized like how important and how huge this of an opportunity this would be. So that was kind of how I came to the Ford. I was a late bloomer.
I don't actually recall the exact year. Like you, I didn't know anything about the Ford. I just heard it was money. And I was like, okay, I believe school should be free, and I don't want to have to take out money. So I applied, and I don't recall, at that time, I don't think I came to Grad Fund at that time, which was probably to my detriment. But then I applied to the Dissertation fellowship, and then I knew, okay, by that time I'd been in school for several years, so I had an understanding about the awards that were given for dissertation stage, and I was like, oh, the Ford Fellows seem to be people who are committed to something more than just academic production, and that to me is very important, because knowledge to me I'm not in school just for producing knowledge for knowledge's sake. I'm in school for producing knowledge that can help us change how we see the world and how we impact the world. And so I thought, if the Ford community ever thought that what I was sharing was important enough, then I would be very honored, and I am very honored, because I do think it's important to be a part of a community that values intellectual production beyond the classroom, And so with that, that's how I kind of understood, I slowly understood the Ford Fellowship embraces that, and embraces people of color who really want to make an impact on the world differently.
I think about all of the other Ford Fellows I know and the kind of work they've committed to and the recognition that they've gotten. And so for me, like, it means to be a part of a community, not just a scholar community of people who are committed to amazing research, but also to service. And that, all of the work that I've done so far, it places me within that community, and it says no matter what happens at this point, no matter where I go to do my research, to teach or whatever, I do have this community of people who have gone through similar experiences, and whatever problems come out of that, I have people I can go to. So I think that's what it means for me, this like new community.
I think it's, I'm still learning what it means, but one of the things that I think it means to me is, as an academic, particularly being an academic, a woman of color, there is this constant, ever-present assumption, and I think there's a book called this, Presumed Incompetence. And, you know, part of the reason why, you know, when I first saw the award letter, I didn't even really process that it was an award letter, was because I was assuming rejection was the only, you know, I guess, experience that I would have in academia, because it's the primary one in many ways. Rejection, struggle, the fighting for recognition. And I think for the Ford community, to me, is a space for me to feel safe to talk to other people who have gone through similar struggles. And to know that recognition is never going to be an issue anymore, because I know that I can talk to other people in this Ford community and find out ways in which that I can learn how to appreciate my own work, and learn to really walk together with other people who are going through similar things, but at the same time provide care and support for others. You know, because I know already before I had the Ford, I had a community of caring individuals, and now that community is quadrupled. But at the same time, now I can really push, you know, talk to people in the Ford community and say, what is this about this pursuit and confidence feeling that I always felt? And what can we do to make sure that more women of color don't feel this way, you know?
I love that you mentioned the idea of rejection and recognition, because that's actually the first thing I thought of. You know, when I think of what it means to me to be a Ford Fellow, I remember being rejected by the Ford when I first applied to the pre-doctoral. You know, I was an alternate, which is great, and I was very proud of that. But it was still you're not ready, you know, and I agree, you know, I've developed a lot as a scholar and with my research and in my own confidence and my own voice. But that's part of the shock also of having earned it, which was finally, you know, that's something that several people in my program who had helped me with my first application when I was first admitted to Rutgers, when I first applied for the pre-doctoral, so many of those mentors said, it's about time they recognize you, you know, so again, that gives you what you're saying, that sense of, I've always had this community who've been supporting me even through my rejections, and so my success is also their success. They feel like we did it, you know, and so that's what it means to me to have this.
Well said.